Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to make another set of earrings using our Violet Glade box from Bargain Bead Box. Now these are going to be sort of the same but sort of different from what we usually use, and because we're going to do that, because we're going to make a double hoop again with the hammered one in the top. However, what's going to be different is we're going to hang that little stainless steel butterfly from the kit right in the middle. So it's going to have a dangle plus the 2 hoops. So let's turn down and we'll get to it. Okay, we've got all these lovely beads here. I've got a set of ear wires. There's our stainless steel butterflies. We have some of the jade, some of the violet mix rondelles. I have chosen these particular ones here. We have a couple of other rondelles as well. So we're going to have 2 different colors of rondelles. And then we have two of these, and all the bead caps will be going in with the, we have 2 large per earring, 2 large jump rings. Those are 2, because remember when we put that in, it's going to flop up some if we put them too tight. So, and we also have, well, there should be another, there it is, another small one to bring everything together. So how we're going to do this is we're going to have on the bottom loop this jade, then 2 of the rondelles. I think we'll use these lighter colored ones for down here close to the jade, with bead caps on either side of it. Then the iridescent, and 2 more rondelles with bead caps. So all that goes to our second earring. And this is our first. This will go to the second, as will one of these. These pieces here, and our little. So the first thing, of course, we need to do is to open up this stainless steel eye pin and slip on our dragonfly. Now some people might wonder why I didn't paint these dragonflies since I painted all the rest of my dragonflies. Well, that's because these are a slick stainless steel, and because they are, unless I were to scruff up the metal, it would not stick, the paints. So I decided just to leave it straight. Now, because we're going to be hooking this onto one of the wires here, we want our dragonfly to have his loop loop like this. So we will get our stepped bell making pliers and put our loop on this little guy. Now if it ends up that he doesn't hang right, as far as being too high or being backwards, we can always add some jump rings to him to give him that extra bit. And I used the bigger spot instead of the smaller, but that's all right. Got to remember that when I do the second one, though, so I don't make it be too smaller. Okay, that's being stubborn now because, like I say, it's the stainless steel. Once it gets to the end, it doesn't always like to turn. So we do the push it method here. Oops, don't break your bead. Okay, looks all right. Okay, so there's this little guy. Now we'll need him to be a little straighter here. There we go. So he's going to hang right in the middle here once we do our double loops here. Okay, I've got some 16 gauge and some 18 gauge out. Now, before we start with the 18 gauge, I want to see if my beads will even fit on here. If they don't, we obviously do not want to use the 18, but we'll go down to 20. Now it looks like our little iridescent one is, oh, it just went on, so maybe it will be all right. There's a bend right there, so it doesn't want to go around it. Come on, where's your hole? Here we go. So the only one we might have problems with is our iridescent one. Though it looks like it might be fine. I'm not positive of that though. Like I say, there's a bend in the wire right there. And if they're small and don't want to go around, that's where they're not going to go around at. But we will try it with the 18 because, like I say, I like a bigger size for my beads. But when it comes right down to it, this might not work because once we bend it to make our bow, our iridescent one may not go on there. So let's try it now that I've got a slight bow in it. Come on, baby. No, see, she's going to stop almost instantly. So we're not going to be able to use 18, unfortunately, and we'll get a couple of pieces of 20 out. But since we are going to be using 20, we'll probably want to work harden it before we finish up our loops. Oh, my 20's already out here. It's over here on the side. But I'm using the 16 for our blank hoop because it's thicker and it will give us a bigger hammered piece. So I'm thinking we're going to, since we're putting the dragonfly in there, I usually go to 3.5 for the inner one. But because we're putting the dragonfly in, we need, I think, a little bit more. So we're going to go to 4. And then because we want that space for the other one, we will go to 5 for the other one. Maybe even 5.25. So let's get our 4 inches out, which will of course make them be a bigger earring, but because I am not going to put any dangles on it, it still won't be as long as some of the ones we've done recently. So there's our 2 4-inch pieces. And then, like I say, we want 5.25 of our 20 because we do need that extra at least inch, and we have this bigger bead in here, so we definitely want the 1/4 inch. So let's get 5 1/4 out of this wire. My wire is falling off the spool because there's not as much of it than it was when the wire was full, of course. So let's just get this second piece. Just do it to the other one. There's the 2 pieces. Now our next step is, of course, to make our loops. So we've got out a wire mandrel, and we're going to make these loops by putting it about, want to try and get it centered, go around and bring them over until they meet, and then push them down. Now see, this one has got more on one side than the other, so we're going to go to the next loop up, leave this one where it's at more or less, and bring the other one around some. See how that did that? Now they're more or less even. So we'll do that with the second one as well. So we'll start, bring it around. See, they're meeting right there. So then push them down onto the mandrel. And we are about pretty close to the same. So now we want to do the bigger one. This one's going to go down on the bottom. And because it's so much bigger, we're actually going to use the handle. So let's go around the handle and just bring them over till they meet. Then push them down evenly on either side. So that we have, now see, you didn't stay there. So you need to go back on. And this side needs to go down more. There we go. Now let's do the second one. And I'm just going to start on the handle with this one, bring it around till it meets. And just bring her down. Now she needs to be smaller, so we're going to put her back on and push her in some more. And so okay, we're going to have to thin it down on the mandrel here and then bring it back over there because it wants to keep being bigger. Oh, now it's pretty good. So we'll leave it there. I'm going to keep this out in case I need it. We'll just put it up here on top above where we're working. The next thing we want to do is get our steel block out, and we're going to use our nylon hammer on these to work harden them, and then we'll use our chasing hammer on these to flatten them. So here is our steel block and our nylon hammer. Flip it over, do the other side. A lot of times when you're hammering, though, these will go out of shape a little bit, so that's why I kept my mandrel out in case I need to reshape. There we go with those. And let's see how they're doing. Now see, this one is bigger again, just a little bit, but it is bigger. So we're going to swoosh her in a bit again. And we'll do the same to this one just to make sure her shape is good. Because sometimes when you're shaping them, they lose their roundness when you're hammering them. So let's see how we're looking. The one looks to be still a teeny bit bigger, but not too bad. I think we can work with it. Now it's time to switch and hammer our, first with these, what we're going to do is turn the loops, since we're going to hammer the loops also. And we don't want to try and turn it after they're all hammered. So there's one. And two. Now these will need reshaped after you have hammered them. They go out of shape quite a bit, so we will need to get those back in shape, but that is to be expected. So there's those two, and I am going to turn one side of our thinner ones right now because we only need one side open. While I have these out, I might as well get these turned. Okay, there's the turn on those two. So this can go to the side then. And now we're going to get out our hammer and hammer. And it's going to get a little loud, so just be aware. And now that I've got this wood flattened, I'm going to texture it before I go on to the other one. And you don't have to texture if you don't want to. I just like the look of the texturing. Careful of your fingers while you're texturing. I've squished mine a couple times. Hurts. Now it's not badly out of shape, but it is out of shape some. So what I will do is, because the openings are opened up, I'm going to put my bell making pliers back in and turn that so it's touching again. And actually, I think that looks pretty good even with the spread. So now we need to do our second one. Now we're gonna texture them. Now that we're done with these, as you can see, this one lost some of its roundness. So we're going to have to get the mandrel back out and round it some again after we get these turned back into place good. So see where this one sits on the mandrel, all the way down. You have to open it a bit to get it onto the second one. We'll go onto the third up here so we can get the roundness in and get our loops closer to the top. There we go with that one, and we need to do the same now with this one. Oop, come back here, you. See if we got her pretty close here. Yeah, they look pretty good there. So we'll set these aside. One over here, one over here. And now we'll get our 20 gauge wire, and we're going to start feeding our beads on. And hopefully those little iridescent ones will go on without giving us any problem. So, bead cap, rondelle, bead cap, and here's where we're going to find out if these are going to give us problems or not. And it looks like they are, which is a pity because they were really pretty and I really wanted them in there. But you can straighten the wire out some to make things fall down in place, but you don't want to do a lot. And I'm afraid this one is going to need a lot. So we're going to switch our bead here. And I'll have to decide what I want to put in its place. So let's pull these out. and we will go and see what else we can put in here. We could just do a see if I like the looks of this after I get it on here, and if so, I'll go get some more beads so we can do this. Use another jade. Okay, that'll work, I think. And then we will just take out this second one of these, and we will need to get another jade for down here. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is, this is going to now have its turn done, and it's going to sit in like here, and then our dragonfly is going to sit down inside here. And he might hit the sides, and if so, that's fine. It just it's going to give a little definition here. I was wanting that iridescent bead in there to hope to pull it together with this one, but since it's not going to go, it's not going to go. So we need to turn this other side here. Get out of there. And we're going to need to pull it apart just a little bit so it matches with our second ring, like so. Boy, that's barely going to keep from touching, isn't it? Good thing I put the 1/4 inch, so it was 1 1/4. And then our dragonfly will go right in here, like so. So I need to go get that other bead, and as soon as I get that, we can finish this one earring up, and well, we can finish them both up. So I'll be right back. Okay, we have the other beads that we need, so let's put them on this one, and then we'll see how they match to each other, because we do want them to be relatively close in size. Okay, and we'll turn our loop on this one. They look pretty good, other than these need to come over a little bit more because they're not quite as close as the other pieces are. So that looks good. So now we have the pieces done for both, except for putting our little dragonfly together over here. We'll do that when we get to that one. So now what we need to do is just simply put these babies together. So in order to do that, we will put our wire mandrel away there. We will take our big jump loop rings and open them up. And we're going to put those on this. Now I like my flattened one into the front, so I'm going to put it on first and then the second and close her up. We'll do the same for the other side. Now what we do is we're going to take the smaller one here, we'll open it up, and we're going to put it on the big jump ring here on the one side. Come on, you. Then we're going to put the dragonfly in, and then the other big jump ring. And I think it needs a few little jump rings to drop it down some. See how close it is up there to the top? So before we put it all the way together, we'll take the dragonfly out. Since I'm going to put it on jump rings, we can put it on after the fact. Get this baby in place and we'll close it up. So here is the closed one. See if we got something's a little wonky right here, it feels like, because that one's popping up. So I need to figure out what's going on there, because it shouldn't be popping up like that. I think it's this lower one is turned inwards just a little bit, so we'll straighten that up. Still looks like it doesn't want to sit down here properly though. So maybe it's you going down that way some. Still giving me a little bit of flack. We're going to have to figure that out. But first we'll get a couple of little jump rings. We're going to get a teensy tiny. You need two. You always have to have, because if you use just one, you're going to have your dragonfly facing sideways. So I'm going to use the teensy tiny right on the dragonfly's part here. And then I will use this regular smaller one to hook it onto the other ring. So we will put the teeny tiny on. And close it up. Now if I need it to be a little longer yet, I could use two of this size to give it the length it needs. But just go through the teensy. And then we'll hook it up to our middle, right between. It has to go between the other two or it won't hang in the right place. Okay, this one's trying to go inside of it too, and I don't want that. You get out of here. Are you closed all the way? There we go. So now, see how our dragonfly hangs down there much better now? He may hit the little... No, I don't think he is going to hit it. He just looked like he was going to when I laid him flat. It's going to be really close, but that's all right. It's not going to be a big deal. But I am going to have to figure out what's going on over here because it is standing up some. And there's no reason for it to do that. But before we worry about that, let's go make the second one, shall we? So first of all, we gotta make our dragonfly piece. See, I used the second loop, didn't I? I got to remember to do that so that we're consistent here. Doesn't want to tuck really well. Straighten this up some. Now put this one together. We're going to put our dragonfly's pieces together with its little jump rings and such right now, so we don't have to do it later. Okay, let's make sure these are straight, so hopefully we won't have the same problem we're having on the other side, where our piece wants to pop up. Okay. Okay, we'll put this together. So open a big one. Onto you. Now the little one to put them all together. Come on, go on there, baby. Oh, afraid of that. Knocked everything off. And now the ear wire. And close her up. And now see, this one's sitting down quite nicely. Get our beads to go back over where they belong here at the bottom. They're sliding over this way some. Which one is the stubborn bead? Because it seems like one of them doesn't want to roll to where it belongs. I think it's this Jade. There we go. There we go, much better. Now I have to see if I can figure out what's going on with this guy over here. Because I really don't understand. Oh, I do think it is this back wire. Still not sitting properly though. Get out of the way, jump ring. I want to try and get these to be more friendly here. Well, it's better, but it's still popping up on that side. So might be our jump ring. Let's roll it around to the other side and see if maybe that side is a little less oval. Still wants to come open some, come up here some. One side's laying pretty flat, perfectly flat, but the other side is coming up. Can you see how that's doing that? So we're going to figure out what the problem is with that. This side is this one is looking good, both sides. Well, no, this side comes up a little bit too. Maybe it's just the way they're going to be. They still look nice, even with that little pop up there. I like them. Hope you guys like them too. What do you think? So there we go. There are our double hoop earrings with the hammered hoop, inner hoop, and the dragonfly dangle in the middle. Aren't those pretty? I like the way these turned out. I think they're really cute. This one wants to keep going off center, but that's all right. We can always bump it and make it go back to center. There they are, the pretty earrings. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we have been making these lovely dragonfly dangle and double hoop earrings using our bargain bead box Violet Glade.